Welcome to Laurel Canyon Kitchen. I'm your host, Holistic Chef Nikki, and today I'm excited for Kenneth Gioin to join us today from Ophora Water. Kenneth, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Now, we met pre-COVID at the Berkeley Springs water tasting.
I think it was 2018.
2018 or 2019, yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I remember meeting you through Nipper, and we were seated together to dinner, and I started just pummeling you with questions about water, and I
Right.
learned a lot. So I've always wanted to know more and continue our conversation.
Yeah, it's I've been around water as it relates to health and wellness for my entire career, basically since my 20s. And what we've discovered over the years is not only drinking water, but bathing and showering, how important it is. We were talking about that earlier. But I have 4 patents on this process of making this water, and it's
Wonderful.
really unique in terms of hydration and energy. And it's just, we believe it's the healthiest water in the industry.
It feels that way when I drink it. Can you explain what makes Ophora unique?
Well, actually, first and foremost, we nano purify the water. It's water today has become so degraded that you literally almost have to start over with it. Unfortunately, particularly here in California, just because of the density of the amount of people here. So we nano purify the water, which means we take it down to, we start over with it. When you purify water to that level, you also have to restructure it, because not only are we taking out all the bad stuff, but we're also removing minerals and some of the good stuff.
Right.
So once we nano purify the water, then we restructure. We add all the goodness back in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then we also take another step in terms of actually hyperoxygenating it, putting all the oxygen back into it. And
So that's what really fascinates me, because this is the first oxygenated water I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I feel it. I really do.
It's
I
very
feel the
energizing. We actually call it organic Red Bull. So
I love it.
So,
it's like, this is how water should be. Water should be giving you a headache.
That's
making
correct.
you feel more thirsty. And I mean, maybe you could vouch for this, but I've heard that certain brands like add things to their water to actually make you more thirsty.
well, electrolytes can do that
Yeah.
if you have too many minerals in the water.
Right.
Mineral water can make you actually more thirsty.
Yeah.
What we're doing is mimicking nature. So water used to have these levels of oxygen in it. So we're actually bottling Ophora at 40 parts per million of stable and bound oxygen. Whereas if your tap water might have on a good day 2 parts per million. So water used to be highly super oxygenated. So what we're doing is we're going back and mimicking nature and putting all the goodness, including the oxygen, back into the water.
Right. I think that's so necessary, because I didn't really pay attention to it as much until I guess I started developing my own personal preferences of flavors that I liked. And then I remember something we talked about at that dinner we had was, I said, Kenneth, why is everyone's drinking this alkaline water, but whenever I drink this high alkaline water, I get a migraine and I throw up? You explained, well, you have an alkaline diet, so you don't need, and that women don't need as high of an alkalinity as men.
Right. Well, a lot of these alkaline waters, frankly, are too alkaline.
Yeah.
And that's, again, mimicking nature. Water is not that alkaline.
Yeah.
So 7.0 is neutral.
Yeah.
You want to be above the neutral, but 9.5 is way overdoing
Way
it.
too much. And I know people who drink that every day, and it makes me sick.
Well, it's
can't.
actually not healthy, and it can cause issues, particularly for women.
But I'm really curious to learn more about what you do in people's homes to help with like the water process you were talking about for like bathing and washing food and things like that.
Right. So drinking water is very, very important. But as we were talking earlier, the water you bathe and shower in is equally as important. Our skin's our largest organ.
Yes.
So, and in fact, it's interesting. If you would weigh yourself before you take a long shower and then after, your body's absorbing that water. So,
Interesting.
in LA here, very, very high concentrations of chlorine in the water. You're absorbing that
taste
chlorine. It's attaching to your skin. And actually, a lot of the skin cancer that they're finding today isn't actually caused by the sun as much as it is from the chlorine in the water, because chlorine attaches to your skin, it forms a shell, it interacts with your organic matter, and it forms chloramines, which are highly, highly carcinogenic. So the water you bathe and shower in is equally as important as the water you drink.
Oh my gosh.
So it has to be addressed.
It certainly does. And I don't think enough people are paying attention to that. And I know that I've been in scenarios where I had to rely on just tap water was all I had.
Right.
So foggy headed.
Oh my gosh.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
My energy levels were really low. I did drink tap water when I lived in New York.
Actually, New York, believe it or not,
I know
has some of the best water in
the
the country.
oldest pipes.
Yeah.
But like the cleanest water. It's so weird.
Yeah. So.
But I want to hear about like your journey on how you got involved in the water industry.
Well, actually, it was through hot tubs. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, I actually was a very early entry into the hot tub business, and I actually saw an ad in a magazine to buy a hot tub, and I called the company, and they said, "Well, if you buy 3, you can be a dealer." So I bought 3 redwood hot tubs, started building them, and before I could finish each one, somebody wanted to buy it.
Wow.
And so at one juncture, I was the largest installer of redwood hot tubs in the country. And what happened is a lot of the young doctors, I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is a lot of really good hospitals there. And all the young doctors were buying our hot tubs. And the big joke was they were walking down the halls in the morning and the whole hospital smelled like chlorine. And so they approached me and said, can you figure out some other material to use other than chlorine in these hot tubs? And I did a deep dive into it, and we actually started using food grade 35% hydrogen peroxide instead of chlorine. And so we were able to purify the water without, and the only byproduct
I've done that while camping.
Yeah. And the only byproduct of H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, is pure oxygen.
Yeah, exactly.
So the beauty is it does an incredible job. It's actually a better sanitizer than chlorine.
Really?
And the only byproduct is pure oxygen. So the only reason more people don't use it is it's expensive. Chlorine's a commodity product. It's $1 a gallon, whereas food grade 35% hydrogen peroxide is expensive.
Yeah.
And now
we were like rationing it out.
Yeah.
The last time I used it.
So now the hydrogen peroxide you buy in a store is like 2 to 3%. So 35% hydrogen peroxide is pretty robust.
Yeah.
So you don't need to add a lot. So we actually put automatic pumps on it to pump a little bit in to keep it in the hot tubs and in spas. So we started nano purifying and hot tub water, and then people started approaching me for drinking water. In my late 20s, we started developing drinking water systems. So it actually wasn't until about 5 years ago I actually got into bottling water.
Wow.
So our bigger business is actually designing and building water improvement systems that we sell to the public so that you can actually create this water in your own house.
I love that.
So our whole home systems that we manufacture are actually, you're actually showering and bathing in this water, this quality water. So water in its purest form is called the universal solvent. So water in its purest form will absorb anything it comes in contact with. So when you're actually washing your vegetables or your fruit with this water, it's pulling the toxins right out of them.
I love that.
So
because I don't believe in using vegetable wash or anything, because
no.
Personally, I was raised, God made dirt don't hurt.
That's right.
Remove chemicals, but like dirt don't hurt. So, like mushrooms, like there's people who scrub mushrooms. I'm like, you're taking the flavor away. Like you just wipe them off.
I get it.
And so, but for me, the thought of having a water that's just more powerful to help with the cleansing process would give me more peace of mind.
Definitely.
For sure.
We're all into health food.
Yeah.
But we're not into health water.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference. And this water, because of its purity, and there isn't a lot of stuff in it, it actually enhances when you're cooking with it, and it also enhances when you're drinking with your food.
That's what's so interesting when you came today and you were talking about how you make coffee and tea with it. Because I was like, oh, can I like Like I didn't understand because I never cooked with alkaline water. I thought, can I boil it? Like, what's the deal? And then I realized, well, if people are using this in their water systems, obviously any temperature
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. So the heat does destroy the oxygen. So when you're cooking with, you are losing the oxygen,
For sure.
but certainly not all the other benefits that are associated with it. So
I love that.
yeah, and it's just very what we call health water.
I love that. And it's funny because I remember loving this water and then going on your website and I was like, man, I wish I could get this in LA. And then I saw you at Erewhon.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all stacked up right there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to take some more home. And I'm so glad that you're in stores now. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we love.
Where else can people find you?
So we sell most of our water is actually purchased directly online.
Uh-huh.
So we actually ship water all over the world.
Awesome.
And it's not inexpensive to ship. Of course, we don't bottle. We won't have anything to do with plastic.
Great.
So we're all glass. It's heavy, and but
That's
people
the
are
best.
willing to pay the extra cost
Yeah.
because of the quality and the fact that it is in glass.
Yeah.
So, again, water in its purest form will absorb anything it comes in contact with. So we couldn't bottle in plastic even if I wanted to, because it literally would be sucking the toxins out of the plastic.
Yeah.
And that's true of all purified water that's in plastic. That's why I encourage people, don't drink water out of plastic.
No, and
mean-
a lot of people don't realize like a lot of the water bottles that say BPA free still have some BPA in there.
Oh, they do. It's so you can't drink out of plastic. I correct people all the time. It's just single-use plastic.
I feel
yeah.
If I'm at the
Yeah.
airport, I'm gonna start like I bring my own chilled metal one like everywhere. It's copper. I bring it like everywhere I go, and I'm just gonna start bringing that to airports because. First of all, spending so much money buying water at the airport because
Yeah,
obviously it costs like
ridiculously
3 times
expensive.
as much.
Right.
And then I just feel terrible because it's been sitting on the plane and I can taste
Yeah.
the difference in the water,
Yeah.
the plastic.
Yeah. So I encourage people, if you're out, if you're traveling, I mean, even myself, if I don't have access to my water, I'll find probably the next best water to purchase is Voss. It comes in a glass bottle.
Yeah.
It's pure
I'll
water.
buy that one.
And it's pretty good water. It's really good water.
It is.
It's great water, actually. So
Yeah, I think it's good. And then I remember when I judged that water tasting, Mountain Valley's really good
Mountain
carbonated
Valley's
water.
good. Mountain Valley.
That's
They make a
really
still
good.
water too. Mountain Valley's
Yeah, their still water's good.
Yeah, that's my second choice.
Yeah, I usually buy their carbonated water to make like cocktails with for people and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love your packaging too. I think it's really beautiful.
We're actually going through a whole new repackaging right now.
Really?
It's really going to be cool.
Well, I'm curious
Yeah.
to see what that's going to look like.
It's going to be great. So we'll be introducing that later in the year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, are you ready to get in the kitchen?
I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find Ophora?
Ophorawater.com. You can go online and order directly. We're in Air One stores and several specialty stores in the Santa Barbara area. That's where we're from.
Awesome.
And we're expanding. So
I love it.
We won't be hard to find next year.
Well, you're making Santa Barbara more famous with this water.
Yeah.
I mean, look what you were able to do there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're real happy
that's awesome.
with what we're doing.
All right, so today we're gonna do a nice roasted cauliflower with. I have these wonderful Japanese sweet potatoes, so we're gonna
Right.
make like a nice puree with that, and I have some truffle salt, some rosemary. It'll be delicious.
All right, can't wait.
All right.
Sounds good.
What we're gonna make is something fun that's just fresh from the garden. So we're gonna roast some cauliflower where I have some gluten-free panko here to kind of give a little bit of a crisp with some salt and pepper, very simple. And then we have some Japanese sweet potato that we're gonna puree with some CBD hemp olive oil, as well as some black truffle salt and garlic and some oil. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of beet powder to add some color to that. So I'm gonna put this in the oven at 400 for about 30 minutes. And typically when I'm cooking like a cauliflower steak, I think the best way to do it is when you sear it on the pan first, and then you put it in the oven so it has that nice sear. But with this, you want it to still be like fork tender. So here we have our food processor. I'm gonna add all I did was boil this sweet potato. I prefer like steaming or boiling them.
And that's a special sweet potato, right?
Yes.
Different?
Yes, it's the Japanese sweet potato, which has a sweeter flavor. It's my favorite because I grew up eating these.
Wow.
I don't know about you, but I like a good amount of garlic.
Garlic's good.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. And then we're gonna add just a little salt. And here, or a little pepper, because here we have a little black truffle salt with Himalayan salt, which truffle anything makes me very happy. And we're gonna add a little bit of this beetroot powder. The good thing about this is if I'm making like another beet dish, I typically would just use the whole beet because I like that sweetness and the flavor. But if you get dehydrated beet powder, you can add a little bit to dishes and it brings that nice pink coloring without really changing the flavor much.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like a natural food coloring.
All right.
Without all the chemicals.
We like natural.
Yes, we do. Here is some of the Ophora water. And since we have enough flavor going, I normally would use like a vegetable stock, but now that I know that I can cook with this water, I'm all about this.
All right.
And then I have a little of our hemp-infused olive oil. And then we're just gonna blend this up. That is looking better. I'm attempting to grow tomatoes here, so we'll see how that works
Tomatoes
out.
are kind of hard out here.
They
for
really
some reason
are.
to grow. I guess it's the soil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's difficult. I have really good fertilizer in my soil. I bought like a specific special kind.
Mm-hmm.
I like making fun sides.
Wow.
So that when you have like a family style dinner or something, you can, make it.
Fabulous.
It's high in B vitamins, all the goodies. I try to get as many vitamins as I can from food.
So that's the best.
And then I supplement more with like when I'm traveling, but otherwise I try to get it more. And then I'm gonna add some hemp right here, I love using these because it's like using sesame seeds, but hemp is actually high in omega-3s.
Really? Beautiful.
Edible flowers from the garden. I like making things colorful and fun. I'm trying to make healthy food interesting for people, so
well,
why not try to make it
those
nice.
colors pair really nice with the
with the pink, yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna finish with a little bit of this, a little dash, little bit of nutritional yeast. All right.
All right.
So now it's time to try. We have a roasted cauliflower. I roasted it in just a little bit of black truffle salt, pepper, and gluten-free panko. And then I have some edible flowers here. And then on the bottom, we have a puree of Japanese sweet potato with beetroot powder and garlic. And I hope you like it.
Looks incredible.
See.
So,
we don't have to be fancy here.
Okay, so this puree looks pretty good. Wow. That's incredible.
I'm glad you like.
And it's beautiful. It almost looks too good to eat.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.